I know you all do way more than just driving the bus. And you are an important part of the classroom. And I hope you all feel that way. Did everybody get one? Okay. But I mean, you guys have the first interactions with the kiddos in the day, and then the last ones in the evening. So, I mean, I just want you guys to be comfortable with that. I'm going to show you a little video, and you may have already seen this. Hopefully we're hooked up here. You got a rowdy bunch up here.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, you guys may have seen this one. But this is just kind of talking about some interactions with kiddos. Okay, and the volume is.
Hey, Mr. Keel.
Did you see that? Why would somebody do that?
I don't know. Please go into the classroom, no talking, quietly. Hey, Miss Marilyn, how you doing? We need you inside.
How do you think that makes us feel?
I forgot my number. What's your name? Jordan. What's your last name? Carter. Go ahead.
School is hard enough.
Come on in, sit down quietly at your desks, and begin writing.
This kind of stuff just makes it harder.
I said quietly, please. Who's talking? Is it you, Sophie? Don't let it be you.
Don't believe me? Please just watch.
I'm not up here for me, I'm up here for you. Pay attention. Okay? Now somebody answer me. Somebody needs to answer me really fast.
Every time we're ignored or yelled at or silenced, the teacher takes away what's possible.
No horseplay, no running, and especially no talking.
Moment by moment.
Miss Garrity, your students' behavior yesterday in the lunchroom, it was terrible. Next time, silent lunch.
Did you hear that? Stay in line and catch a bubble. I'm not playing.
If this is education, we're in trouble.
Bye, Miss McGarrity.
Frederick Douglass said, once you learn to read, you'll be forever free. The way it is now, 2 of the 3 of us would never be able to really read. It doesn't have to be this way.
Hey, Jordan, how you doing? Good.
Everyone we meet throughout our day can make a difference.
I've been waiting for you to arrive.
All the difference.
Good, how are you? Hi, Jordan. Bye, Jason.
Good morning, Jordan.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Good.
Go ahead and put your number in.
Talk with us, not at us.
That's okay. I'll look it up for you. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Okay.
All right.
Teach us what we need to know. That's how we get smarter.
Well, good morning, Sophie, Janicia, and Jordan.
And when you talk with us and teach us, give us bigger and bigger words.
Now what I'd like you to do, children, is turn around and converse with your neighbor and discuss where the mother might have gone.
Words that we can use to read and understand.
She is prey for evil, so she comes at night.
And that will take us places we could never reach without you.
Remember, we're entering the learning zone. Now, how can we show our respect to the children and teachers who are working?
We can walk quietly.
Yes. Okay, kids, so what I'd like you to do is continue writing your narrative, documenting your emotions. If you were the baby owl and your mother abandoned you in the nest.
What can you do? Learn all that you can so that you can challenge us to be our best.
We would have stayed and assisted them in whatever they needed.
Share yourself with us and show us how to share ourselves with others. Give us courage. Give us compassion. Help us find our own voices so we can become who we are meant to be.
Why would you want to silence us?
Okay, so that first example was not a very good one, right? I mean, it didn't make you feel good, did it? But then the second one, where they acknowledged the children, it was so much better. And that's all you guys have to worry about. I mean, I know, especially me being in class, sometimes you hear us talking about like what types of questions you're asking them and, you know, how you're engaged in their learning. You need to be focused on building those relationships, because we do have those tough behaviors, and those close relationships is what's going to get you through the tough moments. So, and of course I have to look at this through class because that's just kind of what I do. But your first step is going to be to create those relationships. And I mean, these are all reminders. You guys do it all the time anyway. But just some things, and this comes straight from the class tool, but you know, how to create a positive climate. Well, you got to get down on the kids' level. They're not going to talk to you that much if you're towering over them, right? You got to engage in those social conversations. You got to have eye contact. You got to use their names. Use a warm, calm voice. Those are all things that you guys do all the time. I'm sure as soon as they come up on the bus, you guys are probably greeting them as they come up on the bus. You got to show sensitivity to the children's needs. We've got some kiddos who have some very serious needs. And it's just being aware of that and being aware of how they are doing throughout the day, even on your bus, right? I'm sure you guys are constantly checking back there to, I mean, I know you have your monitor on the bus, but you guys are communicating with each other, making sure the kiddos are doing okay. And it's just acknowledging their needs, listening to the children and responding to them. Then of course you want to encourage some independence and leadership skills. So you're just going to give the children some choices. You got to show some flexibility. Encourage the children to talk and share their own ideas. And that is just, sometimes we do a lot of the talking, so it's just listening more. I know a lot of you help in the classroom if you don't have, you know, double runs or release time or anything. So these are just some tips, like during center time. Just go to a center, get down on their level, and just start engaging with them. You know, hey guys, what are you doing over here? I see you're building with the blocks. Tell me about that. It doesn't really matter your questions. I'm going to talk about some open-ended questions and give you some tips on that, but you just want to make those connections. So just have fun with them and let them see that you're having fun with them. So then you got your mealtime conversations, which hopefully they're social conversations. And it can just be things like, hey, what did you do last night? How's your family doing? Connecting to the kiddos. Or you can play games. We have some things that all classrooms should have, hopefully. They got these last year, and these are just conversation starters. You can always ask your teaching team for Tasty Talk, or we also have, and it may not be in a book anymore, they may have ripped this out, but Let's Get Talking cards. So if you find yourself struggling with getting involved with the kiddos, then just ask them to see these and it'll give you some tips and some ideas. But I mean, you can play little games at the lunch table, like I Spy and rhyming games and things like that. The biggest thing is just to be actively involved. And I think sometimes we confuse actively engaged with monitoring, and we're not really engaged with the kiddos, so just talking to them. Open-ended questions, if I'm ever in there classing you guys. Just your open-ended question, that's going to make the child give you a more than one word response. You know, it's not going to be what color is that, what number is that. It's going to be like your how and your why questions. if you ever are being observed, the biggest tip I can give you is how am I questions. Just remember those. Just think in your head, okay, what is a how question that I could ask right now, or a why question? Well, why do you think that happened? Or what are you doing? Or why are you, let's say the kiddos are building in the block center. Well, why are you using those blocks? That gets them into that higher order thinking, and it's going to expand your conversation so much. And if a class observer's in there, they're going to love you. So just remember, how am I? Okay, misbehavior. There's really no like secret formula to what to do, because every child and every situation is going to be different. I would think, as you guys are not always in the classroom, that you could kind of sometimes come in and help in a crisis whenever misbehavior is happening, just because the student sometimes responds differently. Like if I go into a classroom, they're going to respond differently to me because they don't really know me. And sometimes that's what you need, just to kind of snap them out of their rage or whatever they're in. So the biggest thing is just to remain calm. If you go in excited, then they're going to get even more excited, and it's just going to escalate the situation. So just remaining calm. Your first priority is going to be safety for that child or for all the children. So the staff may be calling on you to help, remove some of the kiddos or change the scenery for that kiddo. The best thing to do is acknowledge the child's feelings. That kind of goes from our Flip It training. Did you all have Flip It training?
Mm-hmm.
They did? Okay. Whenever a child is, yes, when a child is angry, acknowledging those emotions and telling them, well, I can see you're angry because your face is, red or whatever. I mean, just acknowledging that emotion sometimes helps the situation. You got to be thinking about what the message the child is trying to send. Is there a need? Is there something that we need to do? So, of course, you try to be one step ahead and proactive, but that's just, assisting the teachers with the monitoring. You want to make sure that the children know the expectations. Like, I'm sure they know the rules for the bus, right? They know what they can and can't do. It's the same thing for the classroom. And you also want to point out positive behavior. I love the way you are sitting on the circle rug today, especially those kiddos that struggle with the behavior. But really building those relationships, that's what's going to help you in those moments where things are going crazy or wild. Like I said, there's not really a magic answer for misbehavior. Do you guys have questions or concerns, or maybe situations you've been in that you want to talk about and see, share some of your ideas or struggles or anything? Or you guys are in the hottest room.
I just seen like we get a kid that's kind of a problem, the monitor sits with them. That's kind of about the only sort of control, I guess, that I've seen. I don't know, you know what I mean, but what do you do short? Beyond that, it just depends, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
We've got some pretty smart kids, too, that we've got some good stuff. But our one little boy, I'm going to tell you the name of the teacher. They're getting ready to go to lunch, and somebody in the line spit, or made a spitting noise. I don't know. I was in there and I didn't see him or who. But the teacher said, "Did you do that?" And he said, No, I did. She said, I think you did because it came from right here. Do you know we've got a camera right up there? If I turn that camera on, then we'll see whether you're telling the truth or not. He said, I'm telling you the truth. He said, go ahead and turn it on, and you'll see it wasn't me. That was so, I just
I wouldn't suggest that you handle it that way, but that's kind of, you know, a threat, but.
go ahead and see it wasn't me. That was one of the moments that I've got quite a few over the years. I wish, but that was one this year that was blew my.
So all the kiddos are doing fantastic and are awesome and perfect?
You know it.
Are they perfect on the bus?
You know it.
Well, y'all still got kids crying.
Occasionally,
I picked up one on John's route, and that kid screamed. I thought, well, once you get away from the mom, she'll be okay. No, she poured it on. It went on for, my head would still be hurting if I screamed that much.
Friday when you drove?
Huh?
Was that on that Friday you drove?
I don't know if it's Friday or the day after. Or it was before, I actually drove before then, so. I just like.
Well, I did not drive the same bunch. Did I drive?
Yeah.
Honestly,
She even let the mom come on the bus, and I thought, well, maybe just for a second, I thought that'd calm it down. Then she sat next to her cousin.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
it does.
she screamed probably for, it had to be 12, 15 minutes. We went to make another stop or two, and she was still just like, screaming, but.
We had one last year that cried every day.
Never did stop.
I had one that did it till Christmas, and it was like sniffing and just.
But most of the time, the monitor takes care of it, whatever.
I went up to drive for Eddie, stopped picking up this little boy, and he got on the bus, he looked at me and said, "What are you doing here?" I said, I know, I don't look like Eddie doing it. My hair's not curly.
Right.
Do you guys have questions or concerns about when you interact in a classroom or anything, or you good with that?
What would you consider good?
Well, the only time I'm in
Not
there is when
hurting.
I'm getting a break, because I don't have the time to go in and.
Right.
Well, if you're not comfortable with it, I think most of the kids are just starving for attention. And you don't have to have a PhD in education or to have all the answers. They just want somebody to just make eye contact with them and pay attention to them, and that's, anybody can do that.
Yep.
And that's all some of them wants is kindness.
Right.
They don't see it at home.
Right.
A lot of them come up and just want a hug. And still give them a hug.
I had a little like that over school one day, he came out and he was so, he's that way, he wants you to love him and all that. And he walked up to me and he came right up next to my shoulder, looked at me so sweet, and he wiped his snotty nose all over my shoulder. He got down, he had a stream of snot down white. Just grinned, I thought, there you go. So I went and got me a paper towel, and got it all wet, and I said, "Come here, buddy." I worked his face. I told my wife, I said, "I got a snotty sleeve." They're calling you now.
Or you can let them rub their lips all over your arm. Look what they give me.
I would, when they get off the bus,
Oh.
do high fives, high fives, get off the bus. And one kid, went like that, and I pulled my hand back, and I said, "Oh, do your other hand." And he started, I said, "Not until you, do your nose. It's not happening." And so that's sorry, he didn't get a 5 that day, but
I don't think you did that, you fit in.
I'm not doing.
I've only been on one bus where they threw up. I think the monitor knew the kid, kind of, knew the history, and she looked at the kid and she said, "He's getting ready to throw up." She went and got the bucket, man. It wasn't like a minute later, he threw up in it. So you probably don't know that all the time, but I hate to have to clean up all that and all them little nooks and crannies.
You got silent.
Yeah.
It ain't just a wipe and go, is it?
No, that's the half a day. I had one hurled halfway up the bus. He's the only one I've ever had do that. And no warning at all. He just
Bigger kids on that.
whoa, he was back of the bus, he reached all the way to the emergency exit.
We had that one on your bus at Pete, remember that?
Oh,
Ran from like the back of the
Oh,
bus
I
all
had
the
one
way
do
up.
that last year.
Yeah,
And it got in the heater, and every time the
They did.
heater, oh, it was bad.
But the kid's supposed to pee before they get on the bus, so they didn't remember if the kid did or not, or.
She had to
I
pee
did
every
not
half
wait till
hour.
school.
But you can't stop, because you just reinforce it.